Thank you for your presentation, and we'll now move on to Mr. Lewis.
Good evening. My name is Todd Lewis, and I farm with my father, brother, and nephew south of Regina at Gray, Saskatchewan. I serve as president of the Agricultural Producers Association of Saskatchewan, and we appreciate this opportunity to comment on the legislative proposals relating to the Greenhouse Gas Pollution Pricing Act. As Saskatchewan's general farm organization, we serve as the voice of thousands of farmers and ranchers who manage over 40% of the cultivated farmland and 35% of the total pasture land in Canada. The careful management and stewardship of these lands means Saskatchewan producers are a strategic asset in the effort to address climate change. Saskatchewan producers also generate 30% of Canada's agricultural exports, worth over $15 billion annually. Our activities support tens of thousands of jobs all across Canada. We believe that if Canada is to meet its target to increase agricultural exports while meeting its commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 2030, federal policy must recognize both the economic impact of carbon pricing and the essential services provided by managing carbon on the agricultural landscape. APAS maintains our opposition to the imposition of carbon pricing policy on Saskatchewan agricultural producers. And we need to be very clear. The carbon backstop policy applies mainly to Saskatchewan and to our members who make up a very large part of Canada's agriculture industry. The fundamental premise of carbon pricing is that it serves as a market pricing signal to reduce consumption of fossil fuels. Agricultural producers do not set the prices for their products and have no ability to pass along increased input costs. So carbon pricing fails to function as a price signal in the value chain and becomes an additional cost burden on a sector that already operates on narrow margins. Producers already seek out every viable opportunity to reduce costs because they cannot pass them along. I would refer senators to the graph I have provided, showing the historical relationship between farm revenues and farm profit margins. Producers are spending more to produce more while retaining a smaller percentage of gross revenues. Those margins are used to pay for new technology, to invest in our family businesses, and to prepare for the transfer to the next generation of agricultural producers. Bill C-74 defines a farmer as a person that carries on a farming business with a reasonable expectation of a profit. Provisions contained in this bill work to make that definition less credible. The proposed exemption for farm fuels partially recognizes the cost issue, but the current exemption does not cover a whole range of unavoidable farm business costs that will increase with carbon pricing. These include rail transportation, the single largest cost for prairie grain producers, natural gas for drying grain and heating barns, truck transportation, fertilizer and chemicals, as well as electricity. These are all unavoidable key input costs with very few fuel alternatives. I'd like to repeat my point that farmers and ranchers already work very hard to identify cost savings, such as energy costs, because we cannot pass those costs along to our consumers. We already do our best to produce more with less energy. Saskatchewan producers sell mainly to export markets, and we are located far from export position. Many of our competitors face no carbon tax. Carbon taxes on our input costs simply increase our production costs and make us uncompetitive in the world market. This is unfortunate because the federal government has also identified agriculture as a key sector to grow the Canadian economy through increased exports. All through the formulation of the federal carbon pricing backstop, APAS has raised concerns with the direct and indirect costs impacts of carbon pricing on agricultural supply chains, and requested that the federal government conduct and release a detailed cost estimate for the sector. We have also requested that the review of carbon pricing for trade-exposed industries scheduled for 2020 be conducted prior to the implementation of the carbon pricing backstop. We have not seen a response to these recommendations, so decisions are being made without information on the potential risks and consequences. We also strongly believe that it is time that the federal government recognize agriculture as a big part of the solution to carbon and not as a problem. The Global Climate Action Agenda proposes an annual increase in sequestration in agricultural soils of 4 parts per thousand would halt the total annual global increase in CO2 in the atmosphere. This is an opportunity to address climate change that must not be ignored or undervalued. The recognition and development of agricultural carbon sinks will be essential if Canada is to achieve our Paris Accord obligations. The Pan-Canadian Framework on Clean Growth and Climate Change includes measures across the economy to reduce emissions, including increased stored carbon in forests, wetlands, and agricultural lands. Agricultural producers are currently major players in carbon sequestration. Saskatchewan crop producers currently sequester 8.5 megatons of carbon through improved management practices every year, and prairie pastures sequester over 2 billion tons. The value of current agricultural sequestration must be recognized by decision makers. The lack of a national system of carbon offsets will hinder the development of this opportunity. It also puts additional administrative burden on backstop jurisdictions to develop their own systems, and in turn overlooks agriculture as a potential resource to help address climate change. Federal leadership on the development of a national offset policy is required to make the most of agriculture's full potential to mitigate and offset greenhouse gases. We hope the federal government will move forward with the creation of a robust Canadian offset system that will recognize the contributions agriculture producers are making and provide further opportunities for emission reductions. APAS welcomes the opportunity to address the draft legislative proposals related to the Greenhouse Gas Pollution Pricing Act. We respectfully request that the federal government reconsider both the punitive financial impact on producers and the enormous potential that we have as producers to help meet our carbon targets. Thank you, and look forward to your questions.
Okay, thank you.